Coming up on Look Today, well, local representatives from our area gathered in Albany for the Local Roads Matter campaign. I've got details. And Lake George boys basketball team will be returning to the state championship on Friday. More on that coming up. And the Adirondack Theater Festival in Glens Falls, in collaboration with the Charles R. Wood Theater, prepare for a highly anticipated season. I've got those details. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program, I sit down with Maggie Frank. She's the Executive Director for Wellspring in Saratoga. She's here to talk about a very important fundraising event called Changemakers. I also sit down with Mary Liz Stewart. Now, she's a co-founder and Executive Director for the Underground Railroad Project. She's here to talk about historical events that have helped shape our present day. Plus, we've got your weather. Snow for the Tri-North counties, but first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, representatives from our area gathered in Albany to speak on the importance of state funding for our infrastructure. The Local Roads Matter campaign consists of a bipartisan group of state legislators. They met with highway superintendents to discuss the importance of increasing funding for local roads, bridges, and culverts. Well, now, these leaders called for an increase in the annual budget for Consolidated Highway Improvements, or CHIPS, from $150 million to $588 million. Now, we spoke to Dan Steck. He's Assemblyman for the 114th District.
These road maintenance and upkeep is one of the basic functions of government. It's something that's important to our local economies, to our public safety, to getting the kids to school on time. You want to invite people to come tour the Adirondacks and spend tourism dollars there. You got to make the roads drivable for them. The fairest and best way for the state to do that is through the CHIPS formula. It's established, it's fair, it's well accepted.
Now, we reached out to Dan Steck's office, hoping to get Dan in here for an interview later in the week. Very important topic. In other news, check this out. The Lake George boys basketball team will return to the state boys basketball tournament. Now, their last state victory, I think it was 2015. So Lake George defeated Ticonderoga on Saturday in the regional final 62-59. Then, guess what? Lake George will face North Star Christian Academy in the state semifinals on Friday. Now, we're going to have more on this in the coming days when we speak to the coach as well as some of the players. Switching from news to weather. The weekend brought a dramatic decrease in temperatures. Cold winds, it was freezing out there. I guess you already heard we're going to expect a big snowstorm in the coming days. Let's see how the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. Well, I hope we're all preparing for some heavier snowfall that will begin to overspread the regions. We have yet another late winter snowstorm right upon us. This low down to our south. We tapping into plenty of moisture out of the south. And as this system crosses the Great Lakes, expect to see a big explosion of activity and expect to set up to be for some very heavy snowfall across portions of the Northeast, say from us here in the Glens Falls area down towards D.C. Those areas could pick up anywhere between 6 to 18 inches of snowfall, with all of us trending towards that foot range at this time. Snow arrives slowly tonight. We'll see cloudy skies for the most part. Those snowflakes beginning to fall as we get out and about early in the morning hours. 16 degrees for the low, and by the afternoon we could pick up 5 to 9 inches of snowfall, and that's for the daytime hours. Winter storm warning in place. High 22 degrees out the door tomorrow. We'll start off cold, breezy. The snowfall just getting going. Temperature about 15 to 18 degrees. Wind chills all day long, stuck in the single digits, and that snowfall will really begin to ramp back up once we get through the commute likely and see it by the lunchtime hour. Just really coming down. Could see some spots receiving 1 to 3 inches of snowfall per hour. So that's what we have to set up for. We'll continue to see that snowfall heavy at times overnight Tuesday before it comes to a gradual taper off through Wednesday, maybe a few flurries, and very cold. 26 degrees for the high Wednesday, 27 Thursday. Thursday, back to the sunshine. We'll be watching the chance of rain with us on Saturday, but it'll be Saturday before we see any warm up. Well, that's it for now. Back to you, Jesse.
Oh, thanks, Bran. Nice forecast. If you consider snow nice, it looks like it's going to be a snow event. Back to the news. Well, the Adirondack Theater Festival in Glens Falls is gearing up for a very busy summer season. Now, as you know, the Theater Festival holds its productions at the Charles R. Wood Theater. They're expecting a very successful summer season. Now, in addition to some of the exciting upcoming productions, the Charles R. Wood Theater has a new executive director. Her name is Emily Murphy. Now, we'll be talking to her in the coming days. And we spoke to Chad Rabinovitz. He's the artistic producing director for the festival. We spoke to him about why the theater and the festival play an important role in our community.
I haven't seen a theater, just if you look at the Charles Wood Theater, that type of theater, that size, that scope, and that capability in this size town doesn't exist. And to be able to have that in this downtown area, and then to be able to produce what ATF can do in the summer, and we're not talking about producing Hello Dolly and Guys and Dolls and anything else with the name dolls in it, but you know, these tried and true, we're doing this exciting, innovative new work.
As usual, Chad's got a lot of enthusiasm, and of course we'll have him on for an interview. Up next, I sit down with Maggie Frank. She's executive director for Wellspring in Saratoga. She's here to talk about the very important fundraising event they're having called Changemakers. Plus, I also sit down with Mary Liz Stewart. Now, she's a CEO and founder of an executive director for Underground Railroad Project. She's here to talk about the historical events that shaped our present day. Great interview. First, you see news happening, you want to share a story idea. How about join us for an interview? Then you can give us a call on our hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Monday, so we do Look Ahead. Coming up this week, got a lot of stuff. Lake George basketball team will be up at Lake George to talk to the coach and talk to some of the team members. Maple Avenue School, the middle school in Saratoga, has a big science project going on, and we're going over there to talk to the kids and take a look at that science project. Representative Kerry Warner will be in this week for an interview. We've got a press conference. We're covering something going on at SPAC, and we'll do a follow-up interview with the president of SPAC, Elizabeth Sobel. And there's also a job fair going on at SUNY Adirondack on Wednesday night, and we'll be covering that as well. We got a heck of a snowstorm, it looks like, coming depending on which way the cold front moves, so be careful out there. And tonight on Look TV, it's Beyond the Headlines. It's a new one with Dr. Duffy from SUNY Adirondack, and we're starting to roll out some of the new episodes of Tracks, so check that out. And don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.